Hello, welcome to the Gateway Workshops Indian Head Massage Diploma DVD. In this DVD we're going to take you through the whole routine that you'd have learnt on the day of your course with either myself or one of my colleagues from Gateway Workshops. Remember, the routine is 25 minutes in length and it consists of 3 stages. Firstly, neck and shoulder relaxation. This is very important to allow blood and energy to flow up to the head and scalp. Next stage is head work. We're going to do some head scrubbing, rubbing, tugging and pulling, and we finish off the whole routine with a nice facial acupressure and a very light massage routine. So let's begin. So begin with making sure your client is comfortable in the chair. Remember that we're sitting in a chair for around 25 minutes. Make sure they've got their feet flat on the ground, hands resting on the lap. Also make sure there are no earrings or necklaces when you're massaging. Also make sure you take off your own rings and watches too. Hair is clipped back here, so that allows me easy access to the neck and the back. I think to make sure you do is to cleanse your hands before you start the treatment. And so to begin, as with any holistic treatment, we introduce our touch to the client. I usually start with placing my hands very lightly on the shoulders, just to introduce my touch, and ask the client to take 3 deep breaths. I usually do this with them, and at the same time, tune in, gain energetic rapport with your client. So when you're ready to begin, we're going to work firstly on one side of the neck and then the other side of the neck. Remember, each of the moves you perform is done on alternate sides. To begin, just place your hand lightly on the hairline. Please don't put any pressure on here and don't let the hand slip over the eyes. This is very off-putting for the client. This is to steady the head and to provide some sense of contact throughout the treatment. And now we're going to use 2 fingers. From the occipital region at the base of the skull, where the trapezius muscle originates, we're going to perform slow circling with 2 fingers. There are 4 positions down the neck, and we spend 3 to 5 seconds in each position, just lightly sliding down. It's worth bearing in mind that sometimes just very fine hair gets caught up, so if that happens, just release your fingers and replace them again. Don't drag the hair down as you perform this move. It's also worth just checking the pressure at this point as well, so your client is happy with the pressure. Sometimes they may want more, sometimes less. Bear in mind also, some clients are tighter on one side than they are on the other, so you may have to put more pressure on one side of the shoulder. Make sure that you don't wander around to the side of the neck, because here you'll be working on different muscles. We only want to focus on trapezius because this is the #1 muscle for stress and tension. Also make sure that your fingers don't wander to the centre of the neck and onto the spine. Now we're going to repeat this move to the other side, so making sure you place your hand in position before you take your other hand away, so we maintain contact throughout the treatment. And again, I'm going to repeat this move to the right side. And now for move number 2, we're going to slide our thumb down the neck from the occiput and along to the edge of the shoulder. Very important point to remember here is do not put any pressure on the glenohumeral joint. This is very painful. So we're just focusing the pressure on the muscle only. When we get to the area where it starts to feel hard, that's where bones and tendons are, and we stop there. There are a couple of ways you can perform this move. One way of doing this is to place your thumb in the occiput. Here I've got my palm facing upwards, and I'm going to put pressure down the side of the neck, making sure I don't pull the hair. When I get to the bottom of the neck, I slide my thumb all the way along the shoulder to put pressure on the top of the trapezius muscle. Remember, this area is usually an area that has a lot of knots or fibrous adhesions in it, so pressure here is very good for breaking them down. Once more, I'll show you this move. We slide down, and placing the thumb over the whole of the top of the muscle, we put pressure along to try and ease some tension and tightness in the muscle. Often you'll find your thumb will go over a sort of a hard lump or a knot. That's perfectly normal, and as I say, that actually helps with the process. To get more pressure on, or if you're a therapist that doesn't like to use their thumbs too much, you can perform this move with the base of the thumb here. This is called the thenar eminence. And this move will be performed by placing the pad of the thumb, or the base of the thumb, into the occiput, and again sliding down and along to the edge of the shoulder. This actually can place more pressure on the muscle as well, so if it's particularly tight or knotted in this region, this is a very, very good way of performing this move. There's also another alternative you can use, and that's to use your forearm. In India, this is something they do all the time. So, again, placing your forearm in at the occiput, sliding down, turning so you get the fleshy part of your arm exposed to the top of the shoulder, and work again to the edge. By using the fleshy part of your arm, it sinks into the bony area, so it doesn't cause any undue pain or discomfort. Again, make sure you always start from the occiput, coming down and along. So you have a choice here of using thumb, thenar eminence, or forearm. Any of those chosen methods, you repeat to the other side. For number 3, we perform the same move again. This time we only go halfway along the shoulder. If you refer to your manual, we talk about gallbladder 21. This is a point in the middle of the shoulder. It's the 21st point on the gallbladder meridian, in other words, and it has a very, very good effect for shoulder tightness and stiffness. And so here I'm going to use the thumb. I'm going to come down, again, not pulling any hair, sliding halfway along the shoulder to where gallbladder 21 is located, and ease off. This move again is repeated 3 times. And there I've just felt a little knot that started to break down. Remember, the advantage of using this point is it has a relaxation effect for the shoulder pain, shoulder stiffness. But there's also a very important contraindication to this point as well, and that is the fact that it has a descending or an expulsion point on it as well. We know from the manual, and you know from your course, that Indian head massage within the first trimester of pregnancy is contraindicated. One of the reasons why is because gallbladder 21 has this effect on the body. So absolutely, the first trimester of pregnancy is out for pregnant women. And for number 4, we're going to reverse the move that we've just performed at number 3. Just to remind you, at number 3 we came from the occiput down to the middle of the shoulder. At number 4 we're going to reverse this move. In other words, we're going to use our thumb to push along the trapezius muscle. We turn our thumb and we slide back up just to the side of the spine on trapezius, up towards the occiput. Very importantly, when your thumb reaches the occiput, ease off the pressure. Let's just look at that move again. Pushing along turn, come up, and ease off at the occiput. Once more. And as always, repeat to the other side. And so, up until now, we've started off the routine with the first 4 moves by working here on the upper fibres of the trapezius muscle. Remember, the trapezius also comes down the back. It's a kite-shaped muscle, and it extends over to the collarbone as well. So now we want to work on the middle fibres and the lower fibres of the trapezius. So the next 2 moves are dedicated to that area. For movement number 5, we're going to work 3 positions along the shoulder. This time we're going to work on the lower and middle fibres of the trapezius muscle. The trapezius muscle, if you remember, is a kite-shaped muscle that comes down the back, also extends over the shoulder and attaches here to the collarbone. And so the 3 positions are very close to the neck, in the middle of the shoulder and right at the end. So what we're going to do here is we're going to place our fingertips over the shoulder, just resting above the collarbone. Make sure when you perform this move you have a good body posture yourself. Because we're going to be sliding down, we don't want to end up bending over and causing lower back problems. So there are 2 options here. Either drop your body down to perform this move, or take a lunge stance and perform the move this way. So I'm going to use this method, and I'm going to place my fingertips very close to the neck, and I'm going to bring my fingertips up. When I reach the top of the shoulder, I'm going to apply pressure with my fingers down the back of the muscle. Again, make sure you're nowhere near the spine, just on the muscle. I slide my fingertips down with pressure, come back up to the middle position. If you like, you can lift the muscle just a little bit with your thumb, just to ease any tension, and then release it as your fingertips go down. Again, placing pressure down the back of the muscle. Still keeping in contact with your client, of course, with your other hand. Last position at the end of the shoulder. Again, pressure down. This time we don't go down so far because the muscle ends just here. And again, we're going to repeat this move 3 times. One thing to be careful of here is just placing your fingers or running your fingers over the spine of the scapula. That can sometimes be tender on people. So when you reach that little bony ridge, ease off the pressure, just to avoid any pain or discomfort. As always, we're going to repeat to the other side. For number 6, we're going to reverse this move again. This time we're going to place our fingers back at the beginning of the shoulder, the side of the neck. We're going to use our thumb to reverse the move. So basically, by placing your fingers on the top of the shoulder, the thumb comes up. And as the thumb comes up to the top, apply pressure. And if you can see here, we're just rolling the muscle forward towards the clavicle. This eases any tension in both directions. Again, 3 times. Again, be careful to put too much pressure on the spine of the scapula as you come up with your thumb. And repeat to the other side. Something worth mentioning here is, from the beginning of this routine, gradually you'll notice redness appearing. This is perfectly normal. It's called erythema, and it's a sign that blood is flowing to the area. Very, very healthy, and we like to see that happening. And so for number 7, we're going to perform a technique that vibrates through the muscle. Again, we're working on trapezius, so We start very close to the neck, and slowly, I'll show you, we lift the shoulder and take our hands away. Careful not to pinch here. I'm doing the move very, very slowly, but of course it's performed much faster than this. So you don't actually bring your fingers together because that would pinch. It's almost like a duckbill squeeze. So this is what the move looks like when it's performed. And repeat to the other side. We're now going to perform a head brush for number 8. This is a move you're going to perform 3 times throughout the routine. So by placing your hands on the side of the head, make sure you don't brush over the ears. This is a little bit off-putting for your client. But you come around behind the ears, being careful of the hair clip if there's one in position, down the back of the neck and along the shoulder, and flick off. Here we just lose contact just for a moment, just while we're flicking off. And in India this will be known as removing or brushing off negative energy. It's a very nice move, and it's performed 3 times throughout the routine. Another way to perform that move is to again place your hands over the head, come down behind the ears. This time let your hands fall just down either side of the spine. Come back, let your hands come behind the ears again, brush over the scapula. And the last time you do this move, around behind the ears and off the edge of the shoulder. This covers a larger area for brushing off. Another area where tension accumulates in most people is also around the scapula, the shoulder blade area, on top and underneath. So we're going to perform some moves now to ease some tension in these areas. Firstly, it's important to point out here there's a particular meridian line that runs down the lateral side of the arm, and it's the large intestine meridian. And these points on the large intestine meridian are very good for shoulder stiffness, pain, etc. So we're going to stimulate the points in 3 positions, just at the top of the shoulder, here at the bottom of the deltoid muscle, and just above the elbow. We're going to use the inside of our wrist to perform this move. So again, body position is important here. Drop yourself down and perform this move simultaneously. Bring the wrists in, just gentle pressure on those points, sliding down to just be at the bottom of the deltoid and squeeze in lightly. No need for heavy pressure here, just to stimulate the points. We're going to perform this move 3 times. Now we're going to perform some shoulder rotations to work around and underneath the scapula. And so the best way to perform this move, I find, is to stand just to the side of the client, behind the chair. And I'm going to take my client's hand, place it over the opposite shoulder, placing my hand firmly over their hand. With the other hand, I'm going to support the elbow. Make sure when you lift the arm up that you don't lift it too high. This would bash into the client's face and cause discomfort. So have the arm horizontal, and with the hand firmly over the shoulder, begin rotation of the arm. Now as you do this, work over till you feel resistance, and lift and work over to the other side till you feel resistance again. Often people are very, very tight in the shoulder region, so what you may notice is as you perform this move, the range of movement increases and you get a larger circle. So here I'm performing 6 rotations in each direction. I'll just show you that again. Sometimes clients who can't let go like to try and do this for you. The idea is that you perform the move for them. They should be relaxing. So if your client starts to move their arm in the direction they know you're going to move it, I usually just stop, bounce the arm up and down, just to let them know that I've got the arm and I'm in control. And reverse. You might be able to notice here that there is slightly larger range of motion from when we started. Placing the arm back in the lap. I'm going to repeat to the other side, staying in touch with the client, hand firmly over the shoulder, just to the side of the chair, and again we're going to repeat. Now reverse. One thing to point out here is remember to have the hand firmly back over the shoulder. If the hand's too far forward, when you rotate, you get a flexion here on the wrist, which is slightly uncomfortable for your client. Also, it doesn't perform the move properly, so make sure the hand is firmly back before you start the move. Place the hands back in the lap. Now we're going to do a shoulder drop. Again, your position is very, very important here, and if it's done incorrectly, it can be very uncomfortable for the client. The best way to perform this move is to take the client's hands off of their lap, and this is the way I usually perform the move. I instruct the client to take in a deep breath. As the client takes in a deep breath, I lift the shoulders into a shrug action. So take a deep breath in and release. And as you let the arms go, they drop, shaking out any tension in the shoulders and the arms. We perform this move 3 times, so again, deep breath in, release. Once more, deep breath in, release. Make sure, of course, that you place the arms back on the lap. And so for number 12, we're going to perform another move down the upper and the middle fibres of the trapezius along the top or the crest of the muscle. You've actually performed half of this move before. If you cast your mind back to number 3, with hand in position, we used our thumb or the pad of our thumb to come down the muscle from the occiput and halfway along. What we're going to do now is the same move again, only this time we're going to move the head over. By moving the head over, it opens up this space and allows us to get slightly more pressure in along this muscle. Whenever you're moving the head from side to side, move it very, very gently, never force it over. And I'm just going to rest, no pressure at all, but rest my elbow on the client's opposite shoulder. Here I'm just cradling the head, supporting it as I move it over. I'm going to use the pad of my thumb here to move from the occiput down and along the middle of the shoulder. And again, down. Be careful not to pull any of the hair and pressure along the top of the shoulder. Once more. Now to perform this move on the other side, I'm going to very gently move the head back, position my arm before I move the head over, and again I'm going to repeat this move. When you're finished, you very gently move the head back to position. And the last move now for the neck and shoulder relaxation is number 13. Here we're going to utilise some acupressure points. And so the point we're going to stimulate first is gallbladder 20, as opposed to gallbladder 21, which we worked with earlier on. Gallbladder 20 is located behind the ear at the bottom of the mastoid process. If you find the bony area behind the ear, slide your finger down. Usually you find a small indentation or little dip. And on some people it's actually quite tender. We're going to perform what we call a small static rotation here. In other words, just a slight pressure and tiny circles with the finger. I find that thumbs exert quite a lot of pressure, so I usually use my finger for this.